You guys, we finally got the surprise announcement that none of us were waiting for. NewJeans has rebranded itself after a lengthy contest. Basically, can you give us branding advice for free type of contest to make their new name. And they have announced it with big fanfare. It is NJZ.
Okay, let's do this. Come on, guys. Hi, we're NJZ.
At first I was like, how are you supposed to pronounce that? Like NJZ. And I was just like, okay, who's going to tell them? With that name, that logo, that's probably not the best thing in the world. Especially, you guys like made such a huge effort to create NJZ.
That's it. I did it. I'm a miracle worker.
Not only that, it just looks creepily similar or benchmarked after Jeans, who rebranded themselves, yes, the Mexican girl group from the late 90s, who rebranded themselves as they grew older to JNS, and then now they're NJZ, NewJeans. I mean, we can still call them NewJeans. Ironically, NewJeans are the people that cannot, keep NewJeans in their mouth because they'll get in trouble. So why rename yourself even to begin with if you think that you left your contract, exclusive contract with ADOR free and clear, and you have legal rights to do whatever you want and disregard all of the penalties and all the breaches of contracts, then why even create a new name? And Aespa fans are calling out the new logo font. It's looking essentially like Aespa. And with their comeback, they launched a preview of a photo shoot that they did. But what is up with them red eyes? So no, I don't think this was a case of a mascara liner or a brush putting on eyelash glue that gave them the pink eye. This was a styling choice. And them red eyes is just straight up demon symbology. That red eye demon symbology. Maybe it was apropos that when they went on Christmas on the Lord's birthday to that Christian radio station, they were singing Silent Night because Jesus certainly had nothing to say to them as he was shut out of the station that day and just peering in through the window at what was going on. But what does Google AI have to say about red eye symbology? In demon symbology, red eyes typically represent a malevolent presence, signifying anger, rage, evil intent, and often a powerful, dangerous, demonic entity. It's a visual cue that the creature is not to be trusted and is potentially harmful, drawing on the primal fear of a predator's gaze. Does that sound like a victim of bullying or the actual bully? It also refers to a loss of humanity, like losing your human qualities because you're consumed by evil primal instincts. And it also can denote supernatural power or the ability to see beyond the physical realm. Well, with all of that and all the shamanistic stuff going on, how come they couldn't see beyond the physical realm into a unique name that doesn't literally rip off themselves, rip off of the Mexican girl group Jeans, and then now Aespa? I mean, it's going backwards and forwards, like all in the physical realm. Now, to announce this, I think they made a pretty strategic move. Maybe the DIY-ness got snatched out of the hands of the parents who were saying like, we're going to handle the PR. Maybe they actually ponied up the money and got them more international PR from an international PR agency because they went out to CNN, which seemed like they were extremely amenable to being part of this, the chicanery. And then they also ran into a trap at CNBC where they were interviewed by my good friend and former colleague, Cherry Kong, and she certainly gave them some rocks to chew. They thought they was just going to be munching on some probably carrot cake, and it had a few rocks in there.
There's this illegal fight that actually starts early March, and is this going to somehow damage your branding? I know that you came up with a new name, but New Jeans feels very different having watched all these illegal headlines.
Yeah, well, I think our goal for this year and one of our main
So is New Jeans moving ahead because they're so confident or desperate, or can both things be true at once? It looks like they're pretending to be confident, at least, and perhaps if they believe it, that they are choosing to believe the rosy picture that people are feeding into their minds. Because let's face it, anybody who is beyond a high school education and has some experience in the world would not be so confident in the road that they're on. However, I think in some ways they chose, well, you got to hand it to them that, they're not wavering in their choice, at least publicly, and they have chosen a side. They're not vacillating back and forth. They chose to go with Mini Jin. And if you choose to continue to go down that road, yes, you are digging a hole deeper and deeper and deeper, but you got to move forward like this if you want to keep the train going. Namely, they need money. They need to bring in money somehow. That $5 million payout and whatever royalties they're getting still probably from the last of their scheduled activities with ADOR is not going to cut it, especially with this amped up legal team and also this PR campaign. Them bills be big. And so it looks like that they just have to go forward with this, even if they know that they are really in hot water now by violating their contract and adding up to the breach of contract and making it much less likely for them to win in court. But the thing is that if they just go off and go sign advertising contracts, which essentially is the main thing that they can bring money in, because you can't make money off of the music anymore. So, them Spotify streams, yes, they're good, but they're not going to be paying them bills for, their lifestyle. And so they have to be able to just go ahead with some sort of economic activity and hope that HYBE has to be the one to try to chase them down for the money. And even if they have to give the money back, at least they kept the cash flow going to pay their lawyers and to pay their PR people so that they're still in the game. And so what is the game now? It's for HYBE and ADOR, they're just like probably sitting back and just continuing to write down all of the infractions that are going to make it so much easier for them to win in court. And we have some upcoming court milestones. So the injunction that they filed, there's going to be there's going to be a hearing or a ruling on that at the beginning of March, and that's to stop them from making advertising contracts. So the difference with injunction is sort of like a miniaturized, like specialized action or a legal request that could be part of the contract, overall contract, but just this one-liner, and make a quick decision on that, please. And that would be a yes or no in March. On top of that is an actual long marathon of a lawsuit that could stretch for years, maybe even past the end of their contract with ADOR. So I don't know, this is a bit faked confidence or naive confidence that they don't understand, because what they've seen so far in terms of a legal situation is just a quick injunction with a loop-de-loop all done, which is not how the lawsuits work, but maybe in New Jeans' mind right now, they're thinking like, well, it's a decision that's done quickly and it's supposed to be based on sort of logic, but they've never been through an actual lawsuit where it just drags on for years. And that the first hearing for that is going to be in April. So I don't know why they're so excited about this, because they're literally having to go to the starting line of a marathon that's going to take years. So, they are saying that, they're off sprinting in other sporting events, but no, girls, we got to drag you back to this marathon. And this marathon may take you 2 years, 3 years. And basically that's to the end of your contract, and then only to find that you owe them almost like $500 million, depending on the exchange rate in the future. But nonetheless, NJZ is making a big announcement. They're going to make their first official appearance under their new name at ComplexCON in Hong Kong, where they're going to perform as the headliners and debut a new song. What the heck is ComplexCON? Well, honey, we know they've been running a ComplexCON, but now they're actually going to be officially headlining an event called ComplexCON, which is going to happen between March 21st to March 23rd at the Asia World Expo in Hong Kong. So ComplexCON is a festival that celebrates pop culture, art, music, food, and style. So it's not even a real music event. And for music, it says ComplexCON features headline performances from top artists. And they also have food from local and international restaurants. It's usually held, I believe, in the United States, like Las Vegas. It was first held in Long Beach, California, but this is, I believe, going to be the second time it is being held outside of North America. So congratulations, they're going to be over at the ComplexCON, and then maybe it's Kmart next. So let's take a look at some of the interview clips that they had just the audacity to do, but it was a bit smart, I believe, because it does test the waters for the international response, and it does take advantage of the English speakers within the group.
There's been a lot of conflict going on in our previous company, and while we were under that company, there was a lot of mistreatment, a lot of mismanagement. We lost a lot of trust.
They are still interfering with a lot of our work. Yeah, ADOR is still interfering with a lot of our work. They have already filed 2 lawsuits against us, and they've actually also filed for an injunction, kind of coming out through the media. So that was our main goal, and honestly, we have done nothing wrong, so we're not afraid of anything at the moment. I think we're more excited to kind of see what the future holds, and I'm sure that everything will work out well. Yeah.
And they would be able to see if, I think where they're trying to benchmark, because is there an original idea over there that Lisa from Blackpink? It seems as if most of her activities now are outside of Korea. And with Hani's visa situation as an illegal immigrant still up in the air, and who's going to sponsor her work visa in Korea, then it may be somewhat of a strategy, at least in the short term, to just stay out of Korea as New Jeans, or NJZ. New Jeans. I'm just going to call them New Jeans, okay? So it may work to their advantage to try to stay outside of Korea for as long as possible. And if, their parents, I'm sure they're running through the ComplexCON and trying to figure out how to do this. Well, essentially, if you just get somebody who is, some advertiser, some business partner willing to pay your daughters and go along for the ride and get at the risk of being sued by HYBE, okay, then just make the contract outside of Korea, collect the money outside of Korea, and make it difficult for ADOR and HYBE to try to track down the money and then get their hands on the illegally begotten money, and it might be long enough, hard enough where they're able to pay their bills, but, be outside of the Korean system. Although, on the other hand, that really kind of puts it a bit of a precarious situation for the Korean members of New Jeans and their families, and whether, this group can actually perform and really do activities in Korea. If they follow that route, then the authorities, I think, will be much more careful to, have their eyes on New Jeans and, see if they're actually paying their Korean taxes, if they're keeping everything outside of South Korea in order to, maintain, this long ComplexCON, starting in Hong Kong. So I don't think that is a very advisable path to go, but I could see it definitely working in the short run and for them to be experimenting with that. However, at the same time, a lot of you guys have said is that New Jeans fan base is mainly in Korea. Like, they're not as big and popular outside of Korea. So that's a total catch-22. Had they been more popular outside of Korea, I think they could have gotten, that's a con that they could have, taken to the bank a lot quicker. But this is a bit of a topsy-turvy type of situation. And are they just going to have like Honey permanently not part of their activities while they're in country in Korea? Is she just going to be phoning in from a different app that they probably, at this point, the parents are probably trying to learn C++ or Python or Ruby or whatever the language is nowadays and try to PHP a new phoning app. But be prepared for a mess. So how did ADOR respond? Oh, it issued a very brief response to New Jeans rebranding as NJZ. They said, we would like to share ADOR's position regarding New Jeans' announcement of a new team name. It is deeply regrettable that the members made this unilateral decision before any legal ruling has been made regarding the validity of their exclusive contracts with ADOR. ADOR will continue to do our best to protect the brand value of New Jeans. Additionally, we would like to clarify once more that we are always open to meeting with New Jeans members or their legal representatives to resolve any misunderstandings and discuss the group's future activities. So ADOR is playing it by the book. They're playing it pretty smart. And essentially they're saying like, look, if you look at all of the receipts and the evidence of mistreatment and manipulation, it's all on you guys, girls. And you girls, you NJZers, Zizzers. It's just you guys doing all the bad stuff. What we're doing, I bet they're still paying the New Jeans girls, out of their percentages of whatever they're getting from this whole situation. And not even tacking on like, the legal fees of like what it's taken to, cost ADOR. However, that might be a very interesting way to start doing the accounting to really stick it to them. It's basically like, look, this is costing ADOR a lot of stuff and it's going to go into your bill, ladies. So at least at this point, ADOR is just saying, look, nothing has changed. The contract is still valid. Y'all just in November decided to say that you're just going to cancel it and walk away, but no bueno, and we're going to go to court. And unfortunately, girls, it's going to take a long time for it to be even the first session to happen. And ADOR, in its sense, can just afford to drag this on out. And at a certain point, it's the power asymmetry of, unfortunately, if you're talking about like, how unfair it is for like a big corporation to go up against like an individual, New Jeans themselves are essentially at some point are really going to be like individuals who cannot afford like a very long, years-long marathon of a high-profile legal case. And the court system, and basically the judges, the lawyers, at some point they're gonna consider who's gonna be able to butter their bread on both sides, whether today, tomorrow, the next year, and who would it be more favorable to align with, under the horse trading. And it would of course be HYBE and ADOR. After a certain point, even New Jeans, no matter how hot of a girl group they are, and even if they just were able to walk away this second with no penalties and walk away as a fully funded mini Jin stolen company, then in a few years, even though, no matter how well they do or are supported by New Jeans Mama, they have a shelf life. And so it's not smart for the people who are, right now maybe under some sort of Jezebelian spell with, amongst the bunny uncles and the legal judiciary community to be going along and twisting laws around, breaking laws or obfuscating laws or just basically being shady AF, to keep going along with them NJZS, whatever, the New Jeans team, because after a certain point, they're going to be the losing team. Nevertheless, how does New Jeans feel about their future, their excited, fresh new future? They're saying that they're excited, that they can finally show a new side. How many faces do they have, but a new side of them to their bunnies and to share the music that they've been wanting to present to their fans around the world. So I'm glad they somewhat talked about the music, but barely. They offered no specifics about it, but they did offer a lot more specifics and details about their hair and makeup. And it looks like they're still kind of course, because they don't make any music and they're not real music artists and haven't really evolved, although Mini Jin before was alluding, saying like, oh, the girls are writing stuff and doing stuff and they're trying to be creative and stuff like that, but still they're talking about their hair and makeup and how their outfits are going to change and how they're going to get a new look and not be like the girl next door anymore, but more of a harder, edgier type of untraditional, sharp and bold type of thing. Honey, that's what happens. That's what happens to your look when you the girl next door who stabs somebody in the back and it's the neighbor. So they keep saying that all of this is happening because there's been mistreatment of them by ADOR and manipulations, yet still no specifics, no receipts. And this is their Achilles heel by focusing on the international media. I think somewhat you can get away with that in Korea, but not in their case, because people are invested in their story, and so they'll dig for details and say like, okay, misunderstandings and manipulation like by ADOR and HYBE, what? Give us the evidence. In the international media, I think you can only get away with that if you're literally like going to be covered once and they don't have much time to give to your story and they just need to get the highlights. But any deeper, which they probably now are wanting to depend on a continuous conversation with international media, you cannot get away very long by just continually saying that they've been manipulated and mistreated without bringing the receipts. And if they try to bring them National Assembly receipts that look like fake invoices, that audit's gonna fail in the first highlighter run through. Yeah, the international media is not going to be as like, oh, really? Oh, you were mistreated? Oh, you were like, ain't no check going to be that good or big enough for probably like an international media type of play. You need to, I mean, from what we're seeing in here in America, you need to get government agency money on board to kind of pull that kind of con. So what do you guys think? Do you think that the new rebranding and re-debut of New Jeans as NJZ is really going to restore their popularity and fortunes? Or you think it looks a little bit too similar to JNS, which was the rebranding of the Mexican girl group Jeans, which they already looked very similar to? Does the font look like Aespa? And actually, come to think about it, it really reminds me more of JMS, which is that famous Korean cult that you can kind of see. There's this, Netflix documentary on. Who knows? Maybe they're going to be going from, what's it called? Like not Comic Con. What con are they doing? They're doing some, whatever, that Hong Kong con. All right, guys. Well, put your comments below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.